Well, good morning. It's Longhaultanker, straight razor shaving with Longhaultanker. And today is Sunday, August the 4th, 2024 at approximately 0830. And I am at the Love's Truck Stop in Herculaneum, Missouri. And I've got 24 hours worth of whiskers on my face, my last shave being on Friday morning before I left for work 48 hours ago. And so, here we are today, August the 4th. In 1917, my father was born, Victor Thomas Schrey, and he passed away in June of 1978. So I grew up from 18 years of age with my father having passed. And that was, very formative part of my life as far as no father until I grew up a little bit. Anyway, I just thought I'd make mention of good old Dad. I do remember shaving using his, it was either a Schick or Gillette, Schick I think. Double-edged razor when I first started off. And for the equipment that we're using this morning, we're using Sterling Soap Company's Intrepid Man Delightful Scent. We're using my workhorse brush. It's got the VP Leon Hardy handle. This was one of the defective ones that was sent to me and sent back and exchanged a couple of times, but it's got a golden nib knot in it, 30 millimeter premium silver tip Badger is that. And I've already got my hands soapy. And so, but the razor this morning is going to be a CV Helgestrand MK32, and you'll see that here in just a few moments. Had a nice hot shower. The sink water for the shave, as usual, is very tepid. And I'm not much liking that, but not much I can do about that. And they never seem to listen when I say you need to turn the temperature up. Which I can't imagine why they would think that truck drivers like to shave using cold water. So it's either deliberately they keep the water down to a lower temperature, or they have inadequate equipment. And your guess is as good as mine, which might be true. So the load actually ran on time this week. The preload driver was able to get it loaded and back to the yard by about 11:30 Friday morning. And I got to the yard about the same time. And so it was already parked when I went looking for it. And so I was out of the gate on my way by about 12:15. And I think I can safely say that I'm pretty well caught up on all my shaving videos that I need to watch and want to watch from my usual grouping that I like to watch. And so I'll say good morning to all of you. Bill M. and Matt, Lukey 3262. Martin Shave Test over in the UK, and Dapper Shaves, Jock over in South Africa. And Sean in Puerto Rico. And Eric, the Cajun Blade over in Louisiana. I believe I made mention in my last video, which I believe was on Wednesday, that had a couple of issues on my truck, the electronic logging system and the right front tire. And all of those issues have been resolved. I was especially able, and glad for it, to log into my electronic logging system. Got some truck stop coffee. All right, let's get going here. There's the MK on the scales. And I love the design on this. I love the thumb notch. CV Helgestrand, Escaluna, Sweden, and on the back side, the MK32. All right, with the crowns. And this was honed up, if I remember correctly, on the shafting glass up to 30,000. And so I am on my way back to Portage, Wisconsin, and it is my 15th load in a row. Very pleased by that. I like this load quite well. The timing and the routine of it. Loads on Friday, delivers on Monday, back to the yard Wednesday morning. Home for the rest of Wednesday and Thursday, back out on the road on Friday. And just rinse and repeat. And I like that very much, the routine of it. Now, I got a question in my comments here not long ago, in fact on the last video or two. Somebody wrote and inquired, you seem to shave every day or two. Does it not irritate your face? And of course, I can always tell when people aren't paying attention for whatever reason. And I don't shave every day. That's the first thing, so let's get that aside. Every second to third day is when I shave. So today, this morning, is about 48 hours from my last shave, and that's rather typical. Now, everybody's whisker growth pattern is different. Eric, Cajun Blade, made a comment along this line very recently in the last few videos. And he said he could shave every day, and I believe he could. And my whisker growth I could shave approximately every 36 hours, day and a half. Shave on the morning one day, and by the evening of the following day, I could shave again. But that is often very inconvenient to my scheduling. I don't want to do that. And so I often usually wait till the next morning, so that puts me at 48 hours. But because of the demands of the road and my travel schedule, like today being Sunday, I make my delivery, as has been the case for quite some number of weeks. I go make my delivery. I'll drive today from Herculaneum, Missouri to Portage, Wisconsin, to curbside parking. And tomorrow morning at 0700, I will make my delivery at the plant, little warehouse plant. And And then because of the demand or desire to get back to Houston, almost 1,300 miles, I'll drive tomorrow from Portage, Wisconsin to Steele, Missouri, approximately 600 miles, and takes about 10 hours. And then from Steele, Missouri to Shepherd, Texas, which is about an hour north of Houston, again about 600 miles and 10 hours. And then I'll drive on into the yard on Wednesday morning. And then I won't have my next shave until that Wednesday afternoon, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when I've gotten home. I usually get home anywhere between 11 and 12 o'clock, 12 noon. And so 3 days. So 3 days, from Sunday to Wednesday, 3 days, Wednesday to Friday, 2 days, 48 hours, and then Friday to Sunday, another 48 hours. And if I was at home on a more regular schedule, I probably would shave on a 36-hour, if my wife could tolerate it. If she could. Probably not. And so your shaving schedule may differ because every person's a little different, whether on how fast the whiskers grow, what direction, which kind of leads to a conversation on mapping your face and the growth pattern of the whiskers, and that will determine to some degree how you shave in terms of with the grain, across the grain, and against the grain. And so that's why people talk about growth pattern. For the most part, my whiskers grow angularly, diagonally, this way. That's with the grain. And from about the center, this way, and then that way. And you try to adjust accordingly. And I'm sure by this point some of you have heard about various goings-ons at the Olympics in Paris. What a farce. What an absolute farce. Donald Trump is absolutely right. Keep men out of women's sports, biological males out of women's sports. 2 boxing matches. The first one just captured the heart of this poor girl who trained all of her life, had advanced to the Olympics, comes up against this biological XY chromosome individual, takes 2 hits to the face and withdraws from the fight in tears. You know, a tough fighting girl, probably not generally given to tears, but disappointment, anger, disgust. I'd never been hit so hard before in my life. Well, no kidding. He's a man, you're a woman. The only place that it's legal to hit a woman, assault and battery, is in the Olympics. Males have no place. And then the second, I haven't heard too much about the second fight, where there was a biological male that went up against a female. Much the same results, though, from what little I have heard. But I suppose there's no surprise, given the opening ceremonies and the Satan-loving pedophiles that run the operation. No difference between a man and a woman. Yeah, and it was either a meme based off of a true comment, or it was just a fictitious meme, I don't know, but I saw a meme that said that Mike Tyson was willing to do a charity fight with the first male boxer and donate proceeds to a women's battery shelter, which I think is a great idea. I can't think of anybody better that I would love to see teach that guy a lesson than Mike Tyson, even at 50 some years of age. Yeah. I told my wife when I saw that, I'd be willing to pay to see that. Now, imagine being on the Olympic Committee. What kind of degenerate would you have to be to allow that? sick, sick world, and it's getting sicker.
Customer 15, your shower is ready. Please proceed to shower 3.
Feeling pretty good.
Cut 15, your shower is ready. Please proceed to shower.
So on Friday, when I had my shave at home, I used my mint condition Taylor Eyewitness, which was honed up on a Belgian conical. And it gave me a decent shave, but I could tell that it's time for a little refresh on it. And so I'm going to take it. And if you saw my last video, I think I held up the new conical that was sent to me by viewer Michael. And I appreciate that. And so I'm going to do my little refresh on that conical and see how it performs on Sheffield steel, which everybody says that's Sheffield steel and Wade and Butchers and Reynolds and all the other brands out of Sheffield seem to hone up quite well on conicals. So, and I've always known that because I use my own conicals, my previous conicals on all my Sheffields. And by the way, I consider this to be a part of my, I told you all some weeks ago that I was creating a 7-day roll-up with the new razors that I was buying that were mint vintage conditioned razors, and this is one of them in that series. So is the mint conditioned Sheffield Taylor Eyewitness I just mentioned. And I gotta tell you know that new Boker 14er 8/8, beautiful razor. I had a hard time deciding where to put that amongst my other 3 roll-ups that I have with new production razors. Now, of course, this is the king. This is the beauty. But my first roll-up has the Count Engelbert in it, along with several other very nice new production razors over the last several years.
Customer 16, your shower is ready. Please proceed to shower 5.
And so my middle roll-up, my number 2 roll-up, that's the one with the 4 Philharmonicas in it. And so those 4 filled up the first 4 slots in that 7-day roll-up. And what I did is that I put the Boker 14er in the middle slot. I put 2 of the Philharmonicas on each side of it, which left 2 more slots open, and then I put in a couple of nice vintage razors in there. And so it may seem like a top-notch quality king among peasants in that roll-up, but where else was I going to put it? I don't know. And the third roll-up of modern production razors had a number of top quality razors in it, like the new Dovo Fackerbite. I've got a vintage mint condition Backle. And Bill, that's the name of the razor I couldn't remember when we were talking yesterday. Backle. Comes out of that period of the 40s and 50s where there was just a glut of German razors. You can go over onto the Reviser razor, straight razor, which is a good razor. And they've got a number of vintage NOS, quite a number, a big number of non-riser vintage NOS razors on their website. And I think I've seen some of those starting to show up, presumably, on Griffith Shaving website. Because they look just like, not that they couldn't have come from another source than Revisor. But it's a small enough community that we have, it does make one wonder if there's not a certain level of overlap, or one guy buys from another guy because another guy's going out of business. Who knows? I don't. Make no pretense at understanding the business community among straight razors. I barely understand what I'm doing, but it works. Sometimes when I'm coming up on that stroke, those last, I'm putting a slight right to left English or pull on the razor. So it just, microscopically, just barely is pulling from right to left as I come up under the chin there to get what's underneath that crease right there. right, that's feeling pretty good. And we'll switch hands and go to the right hand. So I will format and load up this video tonight once I have reached Portage. And I must say the last few times I've had pretty good luck getting them loaded up overnight. With the internet signal, I don't know. Don't understand much. Well, I can hear the music pretty good outside my door, so I have no doubt I'm going to get hit with a copyright violation. Go figure. All right, moving right along. At some point, it just becomes phantom whiskers. And I've always said that. They're there when you feel them, but when the skin dries up and everything goes back to normal, they'll be gone. Now, typically at this stage, I'm moving the razor from left to right because I can feel a grain when I come under the neck. When I move this way, there's a grain of whiskers that's different than, say, going this way. And I'm pushing from right to left. Of course, the whiskers, remember, as I said earlier, on my face, they grow from center this way and down. And so against the grain, I'm trying to come up and to the right. All right, let's wash it off and see what we got and do the finishing strokes, and then we'll move to the head shave. Well, I slept pretty good last night. Woke up about 2:30 and rolled over and went back to sleep. But that's pretty usual for me. Being an older man in the truck, when I'm sleeping in the truck on a load, I don't find myself having to get up and do the old man thing and have to go to the bathroom. But when I'm at home, I do, which I find very curious. Why do I have to, what is it about sleeping at home that I wake up and feel like I have to go to the restroom? But I don't in the truck. that does it for the face shave. And I must say that it's just wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Could not ask for a better shave. So, CV Helgestrand MK32 with its unique thumb notch. And there's that. Just a delightful razor, just a delightful. And everything they say about Swedish steel is true. Whatever that means, I don't know.
Attention, all team members. It is now time for a courtesy check.
On the head shave, I'm just using an old TR Cadman Bengal, Sheffield steel, of course. And you'll see it here in a minute. Bengal. Someone, if I had to do over again and I knew today, if I knew then what I knew today, I wouldn't have bought this razor. Somebody has whacked the corner off for whatever reason. TR Cadman, Sheffield, England. And as this was honed up on the caudicle as well. And it always gives a good shave. As far as an edge goes, it's an excellent edge. And for the longest time, it was right in there with my other daily rotation razors. But this one don't quite make the grade in terms, really, and it just comes down to aesthetics, just the way it looks, that I have moved it to, or relegated it to, a head shaving razor. And I've got a roll up that's just dedicated to these old vintage razors that just aesthetically don't compare. And so when you got so many razors and you keep them in my opinion, when you got so many razors and you keep them in rotation to use, at some point you're going to say, why am I using these old razors when I have so many wonderful razors that just look fantastic aesthetically, beautiful, sharp, excellent specimens, and these that are less so, why am I using them on my face? You still want to use them. You don't want to throw them away. You don't want to sell them. I've never been one of those to sell things back into the marketplace that I don't want or don't like. I keep everything that I've ever bought. I just don't see the sense. It's just like all old theology books that I had from school and bought afterward. I've got a personal theology library of about 2,000 books. And yes, I've read most of them or worked through most of them when I was in full-time ministry work. That's what I did. That was the tools of my trade. And recently I've been looking, because a lot of them are out of print, no longer in print. And some of them you pay pretty good money for. I've got books in my library that I pay as much as $200-300 for. And they're technical and they have a specific purpose. Lexicons and dictionaries and even some of the old textbooks that I've got were printed back by certain people in the 1930s and 40s, written and published. And you pay $40 or $50 for them back in the day, and you go looking for them in the bookstores, Christian bookstores, even eBay. And if you can find them, what you paid for $50 30, 40 years ago is going for $500, $300 today, because they're no longer in print and people want them. And they are, for a lack of a better word, rare. Now, some authors, the publishing houses, keep them perennially in print because they have had such an impact over the decades and centuries. See what's his name? Charles Spurgeon, for example, his collection on sermons. They're forever in print. And usually those are at a discount too, because they've published up so many of them over the years and presumably continuously do so. But there's just some of the stuff that I've got in my library. I told my wife, I said, after I'm dead and gone, if you need to sell some of those books just to make ends meet, go ahead. Now, I'd like to donate my library to a library. But I think about the logistics of that. There's a school in Denver where I went to school years ago, one of the schools I went to, that I'd like to donate all my stuff to. But, they're on a shoestring operation. I'm certainly on a shoestring operation, and just getting them transported from Houston to Denver, pack them up in a U-Haul and take them, both time and money become an issue right now. That looks so much better when it's trimmed up. And you can see, last haircut I had was on Wednesday, and you can see how fuller it is, and I can see my lines so much better when I've got a couple of days growth on my head. And as a part of the shave routine, shower, shave, haircut on Wednesday when I get home. Even on your head, you've got patches. This patch right here, just above the hairline cut. This patch right in here is just a seed bed of hair. Well, just because you're losing your hair, up here, forget about it. And the secret to doing the corners back here is just to keep your blade just as flat as possible. Because if you raise it up at much of an angle, you're going to get yourself. You are going to cut yourself. And so whenever but now when I come this way, I might raise it up. You notice a little change in the handle position. But I might raise it up a little bit more when I'm going this way. Got to be careful back there because it will bleed like a stuck pig. So I'm going to leave out of here in just a little bit when I'm done. I'm going to refill my ice water. I'm going to refill my coffee. Go back to the truck, do my post-shave cleanup. Roll down to the fuel pumps and fill up my diesel. Whoops, look at that. Sorry about that. There we go, that's good enough for right now. I'm almost done. I know some of you keep asking me to turn around when I do this part right here on the back of my neck. And I have done so from time to time, but generally I'm not comfortable doing that. There's just something about being able to see my face in the mirror that gives me orientation. And even when I'm not looking at myself directly in the mirror, I'm looking down and I can see the lower half of my torso in the mirror, and that gives me orientation.
Customer service is needed to the gas desk.
And I can feel that edge, especially coming, well, both ways really, but this side especially. What I'm feeling for is when the edge meets the hairline. And you can feel that. Perfect, just beautiful. And so that's it. Let's put the alum on and draw this thing to a close so I can get on with the rest of my day and you can get on the rest of your day. All right, we'll drop the brush in the water and let it start soaking in this very tepid and cool water. I probably overwork my brushes in a lot of different respects, but I certainly want it clean. and I'll work the bristles off camera when I get done here. And I'm just sticking my hands down in the water. There's a fair amount of soap since I just stuck my brush down there, and I don't really care.
Mom's Travel Stops and Country Stores is now hiring talented and motivated people to join our team. If you're a people person with a passion for providing exceptional customer service, we have a place for you. We have part-time and full-time opportunities in our restaurant, retail, and truck care departments. Did you know we offer competitive wages, flexible scheduling, and comprehensive benefits for both full-time and part-time team members?
Just no sting anywhere. It's just a completely smooth shave. Of course, I wouldn't, we use the Helgestrand with a Shapton Glass 30,000 grit edge. Just the smallest bit, just enough to tell that you could shave, and then nothing on the head. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. And thank you for sticking with me this long. And we'll see you next time down the road.